I've got a challenge for you guys, Boston Celtics fans. This time last year, last March, the channel gained 412 faithful subscribers. So I went ahead and made a goal for this year. 500 new subs. Going ahead, share this video to anybody that you think might like Celtics Today by Chat Sports. And when they get here, just going ahead and hit that sub button for me. And also, I have another question for you guys. If you do send this out to somebody, how likely are you to recommend Celtics Today to another Boston Celtics fan or even a New York Knicks hater? Scale it 1 to 10 down below. Let me know if you guys would ever be like, hey, you should check out Celtics Today by Chat Sports, and comment down below. Unfortunately, the Boston Celtics did snap their 11-game win streak last night versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that's exactly what we're going to break down on today's show. Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Allie Barefoot, and I got a couple of things I do want to talk about. I want to talk about Timeout Joe, because yesterday when we were live, I had a lot of Celtics Today subscribers saying, what is Joe Mazzulla doing if he's not calling a timeout while the Celtics are losing a 22-point lead? I also just want to break down the game as an entirety and what the hell happened for the Boston Celtics to lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers. On the back half of the show, you're going to want to stick around because I have 3 hot takeaways about the Celtics' 11-game win streak, because maybe it might be time to panic. But first and foremost, let's talk about the game. We lost 104-105 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. We had the lead for majority of the game, but a 22-point lead was lost in the fourth quarter by one person alone, Dean frickin' Wade. No Donovan Mitchell, no Evan Mobley after the second quarter after he left and was ruled out with an injury. So Dean Wade, of all people, dropped 20 points in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter has fully given me nightmares. Let's break down what actually happened, all right? So the start of the fourth quarter, Celtics are up 87-71, looking like the rest of the wins the Celtics have had. We're chilling, we're laughing, we're having a good time on our live stream. Then about 8:45 left in the fourth quarter, all right, Cavs are starting to hit 8 threes. They're starting to heat up. And between 8:45 to 3:53 in the fourth quarter, they hit 8 3-pointers. They hit 10 consecutive field goals they could not miss. They went on a 23-point run, and the Celtics responded with 4 points. It was an atrocity. And then with 19 seconds left, Jayson Tatum's taking the ball up, walking it up, taking his time, takes 19 freaking dribbles, and ends with a mid-range jumper from the elbow that doesn't go in, and the Cavaliers win 105-104. Mazzulla, after the game, said, look, I tried to call a timeout with 4.6 seconds left before Tatum took his final shot. However, the refs didn't hear it. If I'm trying to get that timeout, I am on the floor. I'm damn near getting a technical for how hard I am trying to call a timeout if it's that pressing. However, the Boston Celtics do tend to be clutch in these scenarios. Maybe not Jayson Tatum, however, come this season. I know he has been in the past. But overall, Joe Mazzulla did try to call a timeout, but it was just too late. This is not the first time the Boston Celtics have had to come back or have had to keep their lead when another team comes back, but the final shot is where I'm starting to get a little bit concerned for the Boston Celtics. Tatum has not been clutch this season with the last shot. That's okay. There are 4 other players on that court that can be lethal with the time ticking down, especially Derek White. We saw in the Eastern Conference Finals Game 6 last year. We all know what happens there. There are other players on this team, but it makes me a little nervous. The Celtics still don't have an end-of-game plan. It's making me think what's going to happen in a 6-game, 7-game series when it's going to come down to the wire, and you don't know what the hell to do. Not to mention, this was the largest blown lead in the fourth quarter in 28 years for the Boston Celtics, 22 points, and you let Dean Wade, of all people, get hot. And this is no discredit to Dean Wade and the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're third in the Eastern Conference. They should be putting up with the Boston Celtics right now. But to allow him to score 20? Where the hell is your defense? I don't even know what happened, including the other mishaps that happened to go down in the fourth quarter. Like I said, the lack of defense on Dean Wade was despicable. It was just horrible to watch. Brett Scott, my boss, a Kansas State alum, came in and said, Dean Wade owns your franchise? Wild. Wild. Not to mention, executing a clutch time game plan was another mishap. This has happened time and time again to lesser teams like the Hornets and the Pistons, but now you've got a better team and you don't know what to do with the last shot. That needs to change, or that mishap is going to get worse. Plus, your perimeter defense was trash in the fourth quarter. I don't even know where you guys were to allow the Cleveland Cavaliers to shoot and make 8 straight three-pointers. That was insane. At least call a timeout and make a better plan, or just double team Darius Garland and Dean Wade. Not to mention, Jaylen Brown was pretty TO'd with how this game went, and he was pissed at the end of the game. He said, look, that's what happens when you don't match the gas and you don't put an NBA team away. Tip your cap to Dean Wade. He got hot, but we should have won that game. We haven't really seen a team storm back like that. Well, wake up, Jaylen Brown, because you have the biggest target on your back in the NBA. Every single team is going to be playing their best ball, including bench player Dean Wade. So you have to be ready for a team to storm back like that no matter what the lead is. Especially if you were to go into the playoffs and have a 7-game series, it's going to be a dogfight every single night. You cannot let the refs decide the final game. I do agree that they called a foul on Jayson Tatum. I do not think there was enough to overturn it for the last shot. However, I don't want that to come down to the wire and let the referees have to go to Secaucus to make the final play of the game. It shouldn't be like that. So don't let the refs dictate what happens to your season. Nonetheless, all of this leading up to the referees calling a foul on Darius Garland on Jayson Tatum's mid-range jumper from the elbow with the clock ticking down. Do you guys like Jayson Tatum taking the last shot of the game? It sounds crazy because Tatum is Tatum. He is fantastic when it comes to effective field goal percentage. Just in terms of clutch this season, I don't know if he's it. I think you should devote at least 2 hours of practice to make the clock tick down and find a final end of game plan. Comment down below which Celtics you would like to see take the final shot of the game, especially when it is clutch. Go on ahead, put that down below. And while you guys are at it, just want a quick reminder here to hit that sub button, because if anything and everything Boston Celtics is going to be found right here. If you guys want to talk about the game that happened last night, come to Celtics Today by Chat Sports. If you want to talk about the Boston Celtics, the best team in the NBA, come to Celtics Today by Chat Sports. Join 24,262 and hit that sub button for me. Let's talk about the 11-game win streak, shall we? Because this was an historic win streak for the Boston Celtics. It's the longest win streak any NBA team has had so far this season, and they're still 7 games ahead of everybody in the Eastern Conference. I'm not necessarily worried, but I do think there are some things to take away from what the C's did to dominate since February 1st. Let's talk about the bench real quick. We've been giving the starting 5 a lot of praise, and unfortunately, I do count Al Horford in the starting 5. I know he's technically a bench player, but when I'm talking about bench, I'm talking about Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett, etc., etc. You can put Al Horford in there. You technically should, but I'm going to count him with the starting 5 just in this segment because I want to talk about how the C's have a great net rating with Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard on the court at 11.9. They have a worse net rating with the 2 players off the court. I have truly become a fan of the second unit of Jayson Tatum, Drew Holiday, Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, and Al Horford. I think that is a fantastic second unit to keep 2 starters in there, maybe 3 if you want to count Al Horford. But Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser have done so much more than just shoot the 3 ball. Sam Hauser maybe a little more than shooting the 3 ball than Peyton Pritchard. But Luke Cornett as well, I'm going to rope him into this. The plays I have seen from Peyton Pritchard, not taking the catch and shoot threes 35 plus feet anymore, but driving to the basket, really scoring on bigger players as well, even going down low on Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I liked what I saw from Peyton Pritchard. Luke Cornett has become a blocking machine. Peyton Pritchard has become a huge second chance guy with offensive rebounds. And Sam Hauser, yeah, he might be a catch and shoot 3 kind of guy, but he's crashing to the board after every shot. And I love the ability he's giving the Celtics to come back with a second chance point. That's going to make a difference moving forward into the playoffs. For the second takeaway I do have, don't panic if the threes aren't falling. Kendrick Perkins wanted to run his mouth last month saying that the C's, if they can't shoot a 3, what can they do? There's a lot of things the Boston Celtics can do, and I think they really showed it from February 1st to March 5th when they did go on an 11-game win streak. They had not lost since February 1st. And since then, the Celtics are second in the NBA in field goal percentage less than 5 feet, which pretty much means in the paint, at the rim, they're shooting 70.3%. The team in first is the Los Angeles Lakers with 71%. The Celtics have been so efficient down low. I think Jaylen Brown is really finding his skills when he's driving to the lane. Jrue Holiday reverse layups. Kristaps Porzingis has been dominant. I truly do think the Celtics are proving that, hey, look, if we're going 1 for 9 to start the game, that'll come towards the second half. Let us just drive and really find the mismatches here. Dan Greenberg had a great tweet that came out. He said, look, when the Celtics are shooting under 35% from the three-point line, they're still 12-10. That's still a winning record. The Celtics, when shooting over 35% from the three-point line, they're 36-2. Obviously, the C's are better when the three ball is implemented. But other notable teams when shooting under 35%, Denver, 11-11. Milwaukee, 11-11. Oklahoma, 11-10. The Celtics are still better if they aren't hitting the three ball than other teams in the NBA, proving they have more assets that they can rely on if they can't go from downtown. So don't panic if the C's start off a little bit cold. But if they're hot, the Boston Celtics are the best team in the NBA. I can't sugarcoat it anymore. I can't be biased. Who's beating the Boston Celtics right now? 11-game win streak from February to March is insane. I truly can think of maybe 1 or 2 other teams that could possibly beat the NBA best team right now, which is the Boston Celtics, and it's going to be the Nuggets, and it might possibly be the Thunder. But I think in terms of the Eastern Conference, it's a wrap. And I'm sorry if you don't agree with me, but those are just facts right now. And if you don't agree with me, why don't you take it from other NBA players who are talking about the Celtics right now? Luka Doncic, after the Celtics beat the Mavericks, he said that's why they're number 1 or number 2 defense in the NBA. They have offense and defense. I think that's the best team in the NBA right now, and it's tough on both ends, for sure. Doncic got smoked out by the Celtics. All 5 starters, all bench players as well. And in the next game, they dominated the Warriors in one of the biggest blowouts I have ever witnessed in my life. And Steve Kerr after said, this is the best version we have ever seen of the Boston Celtics. Steph Curry even comparing them to the decade-long champions the Warriors have been, saying we used to do that to teams. Well, now it's the Boston Celtics time. Do not worry about the loss. That loss needed to come. Kristaps Porzingis said it was a good loss. Jake Eisenberg even had this great tweet showing Celtics' worst losses ranked. I mean, it goes all the way back to a couple years ago. But from worst to least worst, they blew the 18-point lead. They responded, had a 6-game win streak. Blew a lead, 11-game win streak. Blew a lead, 5-game win streak. This is what the Celtics can do. I'm excited to see what's going to happen after they lost to the Cavaliers. They lost to the Lakers on February 1st and went on an 11-game win streak. They go on another 11-game win streak. You've got only a couple more weeks left till the NBA playoffs. The Boston Celtics respond to adversity, which is why you should not panic about the loss of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Although, with the playoffs around the horizon, around the corner, they're almost perfect. What do you think the Celtics need to work on to win the NBA Finals? Do you think it's late game execution? Do you think it's strengthening the bench? Do you think it's relying less on the 3 ball? There are so many things I didn't even talk about in today's show because, quite frankly, I ran out of time and Jake Chipper's got other shit to do. So all you guys have to do is go on ahead and comment down below what you think the Boston Celtics need to work on in order to get Banner 18 and talk about it with me down in the comments below. Maybe I'll make another video out of it, even shout you out, but only if you guys are a subscriber. We're in a subscriber battle with ourselves this month. And the Boston Celtics hate losing, especially the Boston Celtics. So go on ahead, hit that sub button for me, share it to your friend, create a YouTube account for your grandma, hit subscribe on that button, and I'll see you guys next time.